todos, damas, caballeros, y soldados. Welcome back to well, not another episode, but welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3. Today will be a pretty simple video, as I will be doing a sort of quote epilogue end quote of Act 1. I'll be going back, I'll be visiting areas, re-exploring them, and doing a bunch of book readings. So it's not going to be like a full episode, so I'm just going to call this epilogue of Act 1. But without further ado, I am your host, Spanish Galleon, and let's get into it. It has been, for me, it's been a while since I last played Baldur's Gate 3, so if I'm a bit rusty, I do apologize. And if my voice is a little raspy, again, I also apologize.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
That's right, I just finished. Alright. I need two things. One, can I... Alright. This is for future recording, so I'm gonna be a bit silent. Okay,
Still alive, so that's progress.
so there are a couple areas I need to revisit. The first is back at, is back in the beginning of the game? Question mark? There might have been an area where I may have missed it? Question mark. And the reasoning for this is because
No one back home will ever believe this.
dang, UI. You and I are lost. So the reasoning for me going back and just doing a little epilogue here is because during my initial playthrough, do bear in mind, I am like I'm new to this type of thing, so I've like never played it. I've never played D&D. I probably will never play D&D apart from Baldur's Gate 3, so I just wanted to I just kind of missed these things, and I was still getting used to it. But now that I've completed Act 1, so to speak, I'm now a little more knowledgeable in, at the very least, at least with Baldur's Gate 3, I'm more knowledgeable, so now I don't have to struggle as much. That being said, I do plan to, you know, still make weird decisions, and like the general gameplay that we've been experiencing these last few episodes, I believe 9 for Act 1, has been
Still breathing, despite everything.
whatchamacallit, we'll still continue. So I'll still pursue certain romances, or I'll still try to explore as much of the map as possible. Let's see here. Yeah, that sort of thing. Oh, would you look at that? Yeah, and like the overall gameplay will most likely stay the same. I still don't know what to do. I barely completed Act 1 and it took me 30 hours. And 9 different episodes. So yeah, it's weird. But other things such as where do I need to go? Here. So where the scared boar is, and attack it. All right.
I want
Let's
to
do
have
it.
a word.
Great. Dang.
Have a lot on my mind and,
yeah.
well, in it.
So, but other things, just so that I'm not too lonesome, forgetful.
Deep grooves in the mud around that rock. All right, what now?
I need Lae'zel to move it, but I will be like specific things, fighting styles, potions, that sort of thing. I will try to my best to like use more items and try to.
Oh, enough waiting. I crave blood.
Yeah.
Oh, action, not reaction.
All right.
These
So
things
like
have stayed
that
interesting.
right
What's in
there,
here?
that'll change. Me utilizing different things. Ooh, okay. I'll be reading. I'll be using more potions, more. Maybe not more scrolls, but I will be again taking my time with things. Well, maybe not taking my time, but I'll be using potions. I'll be using spells. I'll be using everything in my advantage. Because as I'm going through, I'm realizing I'm missing a lot of things. So I'll best be utilizing the environment, what I have in my inventory, etc., etc., etc. To be a much more proactive, reactive newcomer. Without further ado, Harper's Notebook. 3, 2, 1. A tattered collection of reports held together with a moon and harp seal. There is frequent mention of sacrilegious activity among the local Selunite sect. Okay. Harper's Map. A map that's seen better days, but recent additions suggest it's still in use. In 3, 2, 1. This stained, ragged map has passed through countless hands. A little harp marks an area called Moonrise Towers, with a small inky crescent sketched in the nearby forest. Below the crescent is a more recent scrawl, Cache. All right.
One day I'll catch a break. Got a long road ahead.
All right. Nice. So I expect a more robust, if I do say so myself, gameplay, or at the very least from a newcomer. Not like I would know what to do. All right. Let me just check to make sure I have uncovered all I can uncover here. Up north. Yeah. I also would like to thank everyone who's been showing support for the channel lately. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk about this in another video, but like not a Baldur's Gate 3 video, but I will be. Oh, hidden cache. Perfect. But yeah, thank you so much for everything, you guys. The watch time. I mean, it's it really does help me out. Although I'm not too concerned with number go up, although that definitely plays a part in a lot of decisions I make.
Never a dull moment.
Definitely let me know if you want to see more content of different variety. I mostly have this channel just to document things I want to talk about, you know, for, I don't know, future posterity. Do keep in mind, YouTube is probably the closest thing we have to a time machine. Or imagine this. As I'm recording it, it's the beginning of the year 2025. 10 years ago, right, was 2015. To give you some context, I believe Drake released Hotline Bling in that year, which is my connection in 2015 apparently, but the World Cup had just finished the previous year. That's also another connection. And Yeah, but another interesting thing is that 2015 was also the infamous year that, at least here in the States, that Mr. Trump announced his candidacy for president, and that unleashed a can of worms as well. But regardless, imagine creating a video at that time and just, you know, in your own little world, in your own little bubble, but still recognizing that the outside world exists, so you make brief references, or brief passing references. Now, 10 years later, in the year 2025, having that access to that video and the people's at least passing view of it is such great historical. It has such a great historical value to it, simply because a lot of history has been written by the so-called quote-unquote gentleman historian. So there's not a lot of average people's day in the life. But imagine creating a series of videos, nothing to do with history in itself, like historical events, or maybe it is historical events if that's your thing, but having a series of videos that, you know, captures some of those key historical moments from a different perspective other than what's generally told. That is valuable for historians. All right. Anyway, we just found a hidden cache area just above the crash site, which I don't know. So I'm going to loot this. There's the bog. There's the other side of the river. Where's a chasm? Okay. As far as we can tell, we're surrounded by ragged cliff sides. The reason I'm taking time and exploring and pivoting as well is because I plan to do a video covering
Something over there.
At the back of the crevice lies a bag enfolded in the chitinous squabbling of spiders. A shiny gold coin pokes from its mouth.
Dang.
The creatures clutch the pouch possessively. Is gold so precious to spiders? One by one, the spiders retreat to the rear of the crevice,
Perfect.
lulled by your murmurs. You stash the bag. Something clinks among the coins.
Pouch, a plain leather bag, cinched at the top with a knotted cord. What is this? Spider egg sacked. Can I examine? Something or some things wriggle inside the sticky shell. Oh, I can now throw it. Perfect. Nice. Nice. But yeah, I plan to do a future video covering the lore and the plot of the game from a just from my perspective, simply because, again, I've never played, and it might be useful for, I don't know, other people to view it, although it's gonna be more extensive and use my videos as sort of a source. Because again, apart from a couple videos and a brief, maybe not brief, but a playthrough of another, at least YouTuber. I don't really have a lot of knowledge about the world that 1 D&D takes place in, or 2 Baldur's Gate 3 takes place in. I really don't. Wait a minute. No, maybe I'm just losing my mind. I thought there was something, but I don't think so. Ooh.
Here goes nothing.
An empty mind flare vessel. If its occupant survived, they're nowhere to be seen.
Interesting. That's very intriguing. Okay.
Wish I had a bag of holding.
Same. Same, dude. Same. Blighted village. Okay. Alright, here's another place we need to go to because there is that.
What to do?
Ah, a scimitar and an oil lamp. Alright, curious book. 3, 2, 1.
Ah, someone had good taste in books.
Or maybe a bit of a drinking problem.
Ah, it was a hidden book. This book feels light in your hands and strangely hollow. Okay, and then finally... Am I missing any other place? Probably here. I wonder where... That's probably the secret entrance, is it not? Yeah.
wished to live in more interesting times.
I'll say. Alright. We need to explore every nook and cranny, so bear with me. And then we'll head to camp, and I'll be reading a bunch of books. So. Yes, welcome back to the carnage. Welcome back to the carnage. I believe I have to go to the secret room here. Alright, let's read this plaque.
This grove is kept by Sylvanus's faithful.
It's a big statue of it. Looks like a deer. Perfect. I need to start selling some supplies. Like, all these fruit supplies, I'm probably never gonna be able to finish them. Alright, disintegrating journal. 3, 2, 1. The brittle pages of this book have been rendered illegible with age, save for the occasional name written in crimson ink. A newer, sturdier page has been inserted behind the front cover. It reads, "Found in the riverside structure to the south. Sheds no light on the purpose of that grim place, but confirms that what we already know. It is very old. All else is speculation." To the south is probably this. Alright. It's probably the crypt where we found withers. I need to get up here, but I think the only way to get up there is through this place.
No one's stopped me yet.
Alright, explored it all. I really don't need to steal anything here. I'm pretty sure I already looted all of it. Perfect. The Risen Road. Oh, perfect. I wonder, can I? Oh. Yikes. I think we're getting a lot of hate for this in the
All's well that ends not as bad as it could have.
Baldur's Gate community. I fear the worst has occurred. Anything I missed here? I'm not too certain. Okay. The forest, yeah. Alright. So let us... Perfect. I am now using my senses. I don't think I have a scroll to talk to the dead, do I? Confusion, stinking cloud, wallfire, disintegrating journal. No, I think I pretty much sold all of them. Again, I don't plan to use a lot of scrolls, but
No, never mind.
if I find if I find it useful, I probably would. Survival instinct. Oh my. A hunter's stash. A collapsed burra. Gomwick. Alright, who has a scroll of the dead? Anyone? 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 Scroll of web? No. Alright. Whatever. Whatever. Alright. Time to do something I probably don't want to do. Alright, I'm gonna save the game here, because...
I should speak up.
Suspension of mirror grass.
There you are. Good. I know what you did. All those people in the Druid's Grove. You slaughtered them to a man. Did it make you feel important, huh? Did it make you feel big?
I don't have to explain myself to you.
True. I don't need you to speak. There's nothing you can say for yourself anyway.
See, we can agree. It hurts, but intimidation. If you value your life, if you value your life, you'll stand down.
I've got enough to worry about without your screams giving my position away. Get the fuck out of here, now, before I change my mind.
Alright. Astarian, please. Oh. Apparently, I did what is known as something bad in the, from my understanding of the Baldur's Gate 3 community. that went as well as expected. Alright. Then last but not least, I need to go down there. Oh, I am in forest. I don't understand the placement of the village. Let's assume for in fact that we're traveling like large distances but in a small map. Okay, so this area here would be the cliffside of this river, okay? And then here's a patch of high grassland. It's on the top of the cliffs that leads to a cave system where the grove is located. Which, you know, I guess is this area is a source of water for this outflow and I guess these outflows. But, you know, this is wilderness, and I can understand that you build like a hidden crypt in wilderness. But this is technically also wilderness, and yet a village is right next to it. Would villages usually be placed next to forests? I don't know. I mean, next servers for sure, because ease of access to water is essential for human life, right? But apart, I wouldn't imagine, you know, I can't imagine another burrow. Hold on. Let's see what's inside. Gold. Yeah, I'll take it. Found a backpack in a tree. Don't know why, but we did. Putrid bog. Ugh. So much blood. What have I done with the place?
A trap.
Ow.
Someone doesn't like visitors.
Yeah, and that someone is dead. Oh. That hoits, but whatever. Okay, I need to go here. Cause well, I mean, I didn't miss it. I just
Can't give up now.
I don't know, I just ignored it. Ow. Why am I injured? Oh. Rotting. I gotta wait. But yeah, so I don't know if villages are usually found near the forest. I imagine if they were, the forest would be like larger. So if you were to say hunt in this forest, you would be not only hunting here and here and here, but you'd also be hunting over here, which again, this is like a cave system, so you can't see it. Yeah, this is like a cave system, so you can't see it. So your options are basically this before, which from what we understand, this is like fishing, a fishing area. And then this is the wilderness, and then this is a swamp, so other areas as well. But yeah, I'm gonna cross over here to see what this side has to offer. 10 seconds. Oh, great. So fantastic. I am diseased. But yeah. Which, I get it, right? This, I'm presuming, is the mighty river Kionthar, or Kionthar, right? So, this is that big river. It's faced with cliff sides, so in order to travel from, I believe, Etruriel to wherever it is, Baldur's Gate, they would come down here through... Oh, great. Alright, whatever. Decrepit Sanctuary. Oh, okay. I'm at a disadvantage. I need the squad. I need to be healed. Astarion, get your hairy butt over here.
Someone there?
Let's get going. Light on my feet.
Whatever.
Let's play.
Antidote. Okay, good.
Come on. Can't stay idle.
Okay, good.
You bow or you break.
What can I use with laser? Can I throw this? Oh, I can. Alright, next time I'll throw it. A wood wad. I probably should have saved, but oh well. I need to get rid of the healers and these guys. Ancient. We gotta get rid of the ancient ones.
Yes. Nothing will stand in my way.
can still do a range attack? Perfect. No, we'll wait for the healing. Fire damage, arson and soil, arcade, well, diminution, lightning resistance, heroism. Okay, that solves my problems. That solves my problems. Perfect. Exactly what I needed.
Taking position.
Yeah, let's do this.
Time to move. Time to push my luck again.
Oh, based. Talk to Selûnite.
Time to strike.
Do I have any? Oh, I do. Ah, jeez.
Another fight. Let's go.
Fairy fire? I don't think so.
Over here! Your breath will kill the dead twice over.
Yeah, that's right. Oop.
Higher ascent.
It's close at hand.
Ow.
Nothing important is ever easy.
I could probably use this, right? No, I probably should have used it earlier. Scroll of Phantasmal Killer, 4 to 40 damage. Haunt a creature with its worst nightmares. It takes 4 to 40 psychic damage per turn, cannot move, and has disadvantage. Yeah, let's use that. Oh, is it really?
Swift and lethal.
That's okay. No, we'll save that for another day.
I am fury.
I am death.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
All right, perfect. Twisting branch. Ooh, interesting. Oh, wood shield. Nice. Nice in the sense that... Oh my gosh, come on. Why am I dying? Nice in the sense that I can sell it. Although to who? I don't know to who.
How much farther can I go?
You, bro, trust me, you can keep going. All right, don't you worry about it.
Someone's cut a notch in the tree.
Oh. How do I set fire to this cursed thing?
What a day.
What a day indeed. Actually, let's save. Let us save. Let us save, and we'll have a star and just get the stuff.
A quick rummage.
Letter to Kaga. Okay, interesting. This is kind of late, but we'll read it in 3, 2, 1. Kaga. Olodon has sent word of your progress. I am pleased that the Rite of Thorns has begun. I depart soon from Cloakwood to Baldur's Gate. Should you need further aid from my circle, now's the time. Once cloistered, the Emerald Grove will be the Shadow Druid's domain, and you, its first druid. In Faldorn's memory, Archdruid Alias. This doesn't really matter, but...
Can't give up now.
Because we, as our conversation with Karlak suggested, we did naughty things, and now we pay the price for it. I don't know. Sparkle Hands. Conductive Strikes. When I hit with an unarmed attack, the wearer gains 2 lightning charges. Effective Transmitter. While imbued with lightning charges, attacks against metal constructs foes. So what do I have on right now? Wondrous Gloves. No, I think I'll keep it, but... if I ever had to...
Still alive, so that's progress.
Yeah.
What's
Still
hiding here?
alive.
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
Alright.
Well, that might be worth a look.
That might be worth a look. Oh my gosh. Water deviant cheese. Cheese grummet. Potion of Featherfall. Yeah, so there's this little island in this bog. I can't die. Dang you. Darn you. Okay, so from what I can see on the ground, there's this bog here, but then there's cliff sides.
These things have stayed interesting.
There's this giant overhanging thing. Please just go away. I beggeth of you. A chasm? I guess this is a chasm. So yeah, the river comes in through here and passes by this bog area. Okay. Oh.
Have a lot on my mind and, well, in it.
Like its will be done.
So we have this giant tree on this little tiny bog island.
Looking ahead. Time to press ahead.
No, I have to go through here because this is shorter. Actually, I didn't check here, but there shouldn't be anything there. Finally! Te Deum. Yeah, it looked like this place was connected with a bridge and again used for ancient rituals. I suppose one could whatchamacallit, hunt in this swamp area. Alright, so we know the river comes through here, and I guess keeps going. You have a village here. You have a temple here. You have a bog here, or a swamp area there. You have cliffs that give you access to the river. You have some wilderness right there. And I guess you could still consider this wilderness. Great. I guess you could continue going there. It's gonna take hours. Alright, I'm gonna send Basil to do it.
Blackets will be done. Without delay.
Now, there doesn't seem to be anything. It's just forest. A stuffed bear with a muddy note. Reading in 3, 2, 1. Go. A worn note splattered with mud attached to a doll. It was clearly written in a hurry. Hold this every time you miss Mummy, baby, and do not leave camp. Back soon. Yeah, I did. Okay. Alright, that's intriguing, to say the least.
Worth examining.
And given its proximity, so since we found it here, one can make the assumption that it was thrown from here or from there, or it fell in the river somehow, but it probably was thrown. Which, do not leave camp. Was there a camp here? I don't remember. There's a mine flare pot there. There's a camp here. There is a camp there. So maybe, because it looks like they were ambushed, question mark. So maybe they tried to run this way, try to lose them in the water, but they couldn't. And died. I don't know.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have.
I'm gonna take my time and go around. Interesting, interesting. This is just considerations. Why do I have baneful knowledge? Whatever. And it's not like it affected me anyway. Finally out of this guck. Alright, is there anywhere else I need to explore? No, I think I'm gonna do a double take just to make sure. Explored. I mean, I guess I didn't explore all of that, but I highly doubt it. I explored that. Explored this area. Explored this area. I explored that area. The goblin camp. Yep. So water the waterfall's from there, so I don't understand this water system because supposedly it flows down. Well, it doesn't flow down. It's a contained water system here. So this water and this water are all part and parcel the same thing. Okay, I could break that. No. Mountain Pass. Risen Road. I think I already explored that area. Oh, we could double check just to make sure. I know I explored this area. Yep, explored that. Okay, I think we explored everything. Every nook and every cranny of this game. Or, not this game. Lol. Of the first half of this game. Yeah, I'm gonna go up there just to double check, but then afterwards we'll head back. So, where is the nearest? The Blighted Village.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Yeah, I'm still unsure about this village placement, simply because
Oh, cursed to put my hands on everything.
Moonhaven.
Moonhaven. The village is named Moonhaven. Perfect. Wacoon's Rest. It's like up there? Question mark? Yeah, I have no idea.
Assume nothing.
Yeah,
Efficient
assume nothing. Fist. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the Flaming Fists people are... No, I don't know. I don't know how to get up there. Sorry. Yeah, I guess it's just that. All right. We are gonna go to camp, rest, and well, we're gonna go to the mountain pass, rest, and then we will I will read a bunch of books, so
Let's get going. If not over, then through.
the Risen Road. Oh, I can speak with the dead. Oh, interesting. I might do that on my off time, to be honest. Or I'm here, aren't I? Nah, actually I won't. I'll do that for Act 2. All right. Save game. Act 1 is done. Done. Quotation marks. Head to camp. Alright, I will be right back. I have to do something. Alright, I am back. So before we rest, we are just gonna send... I am going to clear my inventories. So things I want to sell, I should have on me. Idol of Shar. I don't know. Sell. Alchemy, keep. Thieves' tools, I could have a couple. Hammer, I could sell that. Sword of Screams. I'm pretty sure this is Will's thing. So I will send it to camp. Torch, pouch. What's in it? Yeah. Let's take the gold. Or not. Sell. Haste spore grenade. Oh, I know what that is. Keep. Disintegrating nightwalkers. Very rare. Nightwalker. Can't be enwebbed, entangled, ensnared, or can't slip on. Oh, yeah, I should have that. Yeah, send to camp. Bracers of defense. Send to camp. Oils. That is to Astarian. I have to. I could sell that. I don't need that. Idol Sylvanas. Memory shard. I don't need that as well. Malice. Coat your active weapon poison. Ooh. Okay. I could give that to Late Zeldin, so that she could use it in her travels, or in her tribulations. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Send to camp. Send to camp. Kiwi. I'm gonna sell that. Send to camp. Guiding light. Do I want to wear that? Can I? Guiding light. Uncommon. Light. Evocation cantrip. Used by the previous owner to access both the Underdark's darkest corners and her own basement. This ring seems to reflect light where it should be none. Envoy's amulet. A fleshy amulet shaped by the sovereign's spawn's own hand. Whenever the beater goes, so does the Myconid circle. Oh. I don't want that. Send to camp. I'll keep that. I don't want the circle. I'll keep that. We'll sell the backpack then. Ring of Absolute Force. Absolute's Tempest. If the wearer bears the Absolute's brand, they deal one additional thunder damage with thunder damage spells and attacks. I could sell that. I don't really need it. Tarnished silver key. Keep that. Harper key. Keep that. Sparkle hands. I already read that. I will send it to camp. Okay. Cool. I could sell that. I'll keep that on my persons. Onyx sell. Poison. Ruby sell. Opal sell. Perfect. Let me organize this. Type. Yeah. Perfect. Now let me organize the other guys. Send to camp. Send to camp. Send to camp. Drow-studded armor. Send to camp. Torch. He doesn't need it. I could sell this. Alright, whatever. Dark Justice Seer map. Okay. I could sell that. Send to camp. Soul coin keep. Send to camp. And keep that. Send to camp. Send to camp. Ugh. No, I could sell this. Okay, I could sell Javelin. I think that's more Lae'zel's thing, but okay, Lae'zel, sell, send to camp, send to camp. What does you have? Gloves of the Growling Underdog. Underdog's bravery. The wearer gains advantage on melee attacks while surrounded by 2 or more foes. Oh, no, that's pretty good. Sent to camp. Sell. Send to camp as well. Keep. Perfect. Yeah, we all have about equal amounts. Alright, Alright. All of my notes should be in my chest, which I forgot where it is. I think it's over. Yeah, it's over here. Oh my gosh. Type. No. Open. It's gonna be forever. Alright. I should probably heal myself a little bit. I'm never gonna go through all of these, but I don't want to give them up. Alright, in ascending order, we are going to read every book and letter that we have collected. I don't think I've had all of them. But I'm pretty sure I have a large amount of them. Like, I'm pretty sure I have like 90% of all the books I could have gotten from the game. But, alright. So, starting here, we are gonna go through each book. Hopefully my computer doesn't die by then. Alright. A Brush with Evil on Hags. Part of a series examining some of Faerun's more infamous creatures. This exploration on hags remains one of Soot's most popular works. Let's read it. An excerpt from A Brush with Evil on Hags, written by Elizabeth M. Soot. It has been too long, dear reader, since we last sat together. I wish it was because I'd been traveling far and wide, working to bring you more tips and tricks on how to triumph over evil. Alas, that was not the case, for I fell prey to a green hag. Worry not, I am alive and well, but I have spent the last 2 years in her service. One day I will share what happened in that darkened cell, but not this day. Instead, I come to you with a warning. We have discussed hags before, be they of the night, green, or sea variety, and how they are not to be trifled with. But even with all my research, I never truly understood what it meant to encounter one. Evil beings, hags rely on magic, deceit, illusion, and even blackmail to lure their victims in. I knew this. I repeated it many times to you, dear reader, but I did not realize their charm, their allure. I did not know I would come to love her, that I would yearn to please her. She strung me along, tempting me with my wildest dreams. I thought myself clever, that I would be able to outmaneuver her. I once bested a Glabrezu. Surely I could handle a green hag, and she let me believe it, until she sprung her trap. Hags delight in suffering, priding themselves on creating new and inventive ways to torment those in their, quote, care, unquote. And while I have escaped, I spend every waking moment in fear that either her or one of her, quote, sisters, unquote, will come for me. For a hag coven does not let even the smallest of slights go unpunished. And so I rescind my previous guides to dealing with a hag, my suggestions for clever language and deceit. Instead, I offer these words should you ever encounter a hag. Run, and pray she does not follow. Good advice. I think I killed the hag, so oops. A pleasurable deal. The shocking truth. Printed on cheap paper that nearly crumbles at the touch. This article promises the, quote, the real story, end quote, behind the work of Kingsley Harp. Below is a transcript of an interview with the writer and director of A Pleasurable Deal, Mr. Kingsley Harp. Interviewer. What was the inspiration behind this, if I may be so bold, entirely lewd piece of drama? Harp. It's about exploring the taboo, seeing who we, as people, really are. Yes, Robert makes a deal with the Cambion, but who wouldn't? Interviewer. Well, I think most people wouldn't. Harp. Then you don't know most people. Everyone wants something. Everyone needs something. Cambions can see it. In a way, they know us better than we know ourselves. Interviewer. But at the end of the play, Robert dies horribly. What does that say about we, as you put it, quote, need, end quote? Harp. You forget, Robert dies because he broke away from Carlisle. He didn't stay true to the deal they made. Interviewer. So you're encouraging people to make a pact with Hell's offspring, to give up, as Robert did, his soul? Harp: we only have one life. Why not make the most of it? Interviewer: so, what was your deal? Harp: I beg your pardon? Interviewer: in fact, this was your directorial debut, wasn't it? You couldn't even get published in the tabloid Baldur's Bash before this play came out. Did you honestly trade your soul for an erotic play? Harp: all right, we're done here. Oh my. A warning to the Sword Coast. An anti-tiefling screed printed on the cheapest paper. It doesn't seem to have been widely read. People of the Sword Coast, look around you. What do you see? A collection of gods-fearing humans, elves, and dwarves, or an infernal corruption of that divine image? Tieflings, wearing their devilish heritage for all to see, walk among us, as if they didn't owe their existence and allegiance to the lords below. These hells-touched peoples have infiltrated our cities, our organizations, even our families. They could claim to be good all they wish. Would you believe the tiger who looks at you with dripping fangs if he said he ate nothing but vegetables? No, we can see their true nature plain as day. But they are not the only evil infiltrating our world. All around I see drow, dwagar, and other creatures of the Underdark strive for acceptance. But why should you accept them when their brothers raid our countryside and steal our children? Obviously, I'm not saying they should be cast out. Obviously, I'm not saying we should return these delinquents to the Underdark and drive the tieflings back to the hells they came from. But be wary of these people, my friends. Be suspicious when you see them, and especially suspicious when you do not. A is for Azuth and Other Gods. 3. A collection of children's rhymes about the gods Baal, Kauntea, and Cyric. You should not ever pray to Baal, the savage lord of murder. His worshippers are killers, all who spread his darkness further. Chauntea is our mother great. Hers is the hearth and home. Our harvests on her blessing wait. Thus we reap what we've sown. Cyric is the prince of strife, god of deceit and madness. Watch out for the dark sun and his lies, who will rob your bonds of gladness. A is for Azuth and Other Gods. 1. A collection of children's rhymes about the gods Amaunator, Asmodeus, and Auril. Amaunator, sun's bright light, shines the truth into man's laws. Speak his name to stop a fight, then invoke a legal clause. Beware dread Asmodeus, both his word and promise sweet, more able to betray us than the devils at his feet. Auril is merciless and cold, the winter's icy breath. Spare her a little food and gold, so you won't freeze to death. A is for Azuth and Other Gods. 6. A collection of children's rhymes about the gods Ilmator, Jurgil, and Kalevmor. Ilmator hears the martyr's cries, takes in the ill and the oppressed. When one to help the others dies, then by Ilmator they are blessed. Jurgil, or so it's often said, once gave away his bony throne. For Kalemvor he tracks the dead, makes sure that dead souls do not roam. Kalemvor, Lord of the Dead, will take your hand when death arrives, makes sure souls are correctly led to all their proper afterlives. Amap's Memoirs. The reflections of Paul Amaps, a halfling humanist whose writings advised fair and peaceful ends to vicious conflicts. My life has been a long succession of pleasures. To see my town take to my ideas and cease legal discrimination of local orcs, to see my fights against horrid living conditions in the city's factories take off, to have the chance to see a new generation take to these ideas of a better, kinder, fairer, intelligent world, and run it with it to new reaches of the continent. It was not a life without struggle, however, and I shall regret its failures. My old friend Swelto comes to mind, who adopted such cruel ideologies later in life. I will forever console myself in the idea that such a brilliant mind would only conceive such theories under the strain of exile, and the promise of reinstatement as she ultimately was. An open letter on oppression and peacocks. Baldur's Bash is printed in bright, bold letters on the front cover, followed by many exclamation marks. This copy is focused on letters to the editor. Written in a furious, sloping hand, this is a letter to the editor of Baldur's Bash, a tabloid notorious for its controversial articles. Dear editor, I find it despicable, nay, diabolical, that you would defend Baldur's Gate's ridiculous restrictions regarding animals in the city. No animal larger than a peacock may gain entry? How archaic. My darling Giselle is the most well-behaved bear you'll ever meet, and yet, to spend time with my child, I must visit my summer home in Cormyr. I call upon the Parliament of Peers to resolve this issue immediately. The emotional and psychological well-being of the people of Baldur's Gate is at stake, and I shall take this to the highest authorities should it not be dealt with accordingly. Right now, Giselle cries out for her father. This archaic policy has separated a child from their parent. I don't know how Grand Duke Older Ravengard lives with his life. Yours faithfully, Mr. R. Pickens. Wow. Apprentice's Journal. A meandering read documenting an apprentice's flight from his homeland and struggles in his new life. 3 Ukhtar 371 DR. Let it be known that I have left my homeland because I was bound to my master, and not because I chose to. Were it not for the oath I swore, I would still be home, serving the Zulkirs, and not tending to hog pox in this crude hamlet. However, an oath is an oath, and I will serve him, as is my duty, until I am released. The early journal entries are written in a delicate, intricate script that gets rougher and wilder the more pages you turn. It ends with one hastily scrawled entry. They did it. The Dark Justiciars got the old bastard before the Zulks could. Now he's bleeding out, and once he's gone, I'll be free from this oath. I can go back. I'll return the tome of necromancy he stole. They'll forgive me then. They'll know I'm loyal. The key gem secure in the tunnels. Once I have it, I'll slip into the cellar, take what I can carry, and then home. Blacksmith's Note. A blacksmith's brief report on an unusual metal, so hot even a forge's scorching heat couldn't melt or bend it. Specimen metal. Hardness 9.5. Very hard. Melting point unknown. Color silver. Markings red lacerations flecked with yellow dust. Source Underdark? Notes. Gift from redacted. Faintly sulfuric odor. Foraging unsuccessful. Will not melt or warp at standard temperature. Blood-smeared logbook. A bloody ledger filled with records of precious gems. A ledger detailing the appearance and quality of numerous gemstones that have been mined from rock. Weight, color, clarity, and more are noted next to a sketch of each stone. The underlined entry for a sizable ruby is written in shaky, excited quill strokes. Canticles of the Dark Mistress, a collection of hymns and chants sung in praise of the goddess Shar. Let shadow fall where the light doth creep, and silence cloak the din. Let blackness into lost hearts seep, and bid Our Lady in. Behold, Shar, who shades our path. Behold, Shar, from Ao born. Behold, Shar, the primal dark, our goddess of night. Behold. Case file number 846. A rough copy of a court recording written in faded ink. Baldur's Gate versus Flynn Silver. Case for prosecution. Master Silver did, with forethought and without malice, kill William Lister and Simon Simi Trent at their home as part of an ungodly ritual to honor the dead three, or one of the dead three, the gods Bane, Baal, or Merkel. Case for defense. I do not know nothing about any gods. All I know is Bill and Simi were trying to cut me out of our deal, and they got what they had coming. But those symbols and stuff, and how their guts were arranged, I don't know nothing. End quote. Verdict: guilty. Sentence: death. Commuted to banishment so as not to anger the higher powers. Creased letter. Scouting orders found on a drow's caged corpse. Jam. Like a phoenix from the ashes, Grimforge has risen from the dead. I have word of a drow cultist gathering Dwagar in the old city's halls. That the absolute means to recruit them, I have no doubt. Yet it's what they seek amidst the ruins that most troubles me. You've not failed me yet. Go to Grimforge, cling to Shadow, and bring word of the cult's intentions to Last Light. I will be waiting. J. Dark Justicier's Journal. A thin diary smelling of faintly prayer smoke. Cycle 40. I know it is forbidden to enter the Inquisitor's chambers, but I could not help myself. Has Master Ketheric not commanded us to use every possible tool to best Shar's rivals? Besides, if Sybil meant to keep the amulet a secret, she would have hidden it better. Cycle 40 and 2. The amulet has gifted me a power, an energy, heretofore unknown to me. I have never known such might, and such cheer. I can barely keep myself from smiling, much to others' chagrin. Cycle ha. Begin. Cycle 40 and 5. It is done. Thank the Dark Lady. Sybil ripped the amulet from my throat and cast it into the lava, having found me racked by laughter. The madness has lifted, but I do not yet know my penance. Sybil is not known to take pity on thieves. Death and Divinity, a godly guide. The spine of this heavy black book is inked with a chain of silver skulls. Death is too powerful for a force for even a single god to contain. It is a duty that has been passed from hand to hand, splintered into smaller pieces. Disease, war, funeral rites, but there must always be an overseer of the cycle as life falls away. For countless aeons, it was Jurgle, the lord of the end of everything, presided over mortality with his unblinking stare until he grew wary. Young Baal, Bane, and Merkel must have thought themselves conquerors when they came for the god of death. Yet he used their ambitions to free himself. Merkel claimed primacy over death from Jurgle's bargain, but even he does not rule death alone. What is murder if not the most violent of deaths, seized by Baal in his incessant greed? What need would there be for noble Kalemvor to judge passing souls, if one deity could hold the process entire? Even gods can die, after all. Those who worship death should remember that above all else. Deed of Ownership, a formal declaration of territory ownership from the Iron Hand gnomes. Let it be known from the Far Drim to the Firelands, from Morndiver to the Spawning Deep. The Iron Hand gnomes, with the blessings of the Shield of the Golden Hills, declare possession of the tunnels, open spaces, peoples, and contents of the Underdark territory beneath the Western Heartlands. Ignore this deed under penalty of imprisonment or death. Approved and signed, Wolbren Bongle. Ancient Scroll, a moldering scroll containing what remains of an ancient ritual. Though a bloom of mold has leached the ink from most of the scroll, its beginning is still legible. The sealing ritual. Our god cares not for petty ritual. There is only the sealing, and it is vital that we observe it with exacting reverence. On the day of the sealing, a mixture of bone and ash is consecrated. Upon the names of the dead we spread the offering, imbuing the ink with the essence of death of our God. Detailed reports. Notes on a curse that seems to be infecting an area, written in careful script. Someone has written "Shadow Curse" at the top of this page, and a number of notes below. Trees infected but still alive. Malicious component to underlying magic. Resists removal. Attempts to infect caster. Range and severity of curse suggests divine origin. Umbral characteristics and vicinity to Shar's temple suggests goddess herself is responsible. Next, discarded journal. A diary detailing the daily life of a gnomish village in the Underdark. We threw a surprise party for Ironfoot. How that idiot made it past 150 is a mystery, but it's cause for celebration either way. When he saw the fire whiskey we'd been brewing, I swear he teared up. I'd only a cup of the stuff, but I can't feel my tongue anymore. The lunatic finished the barrel that night. I have no idea how he made it to his next shift, but Myrdna claimed she needed him inside the wagon to guard inventory. The burrow warden didn't say a word when the snores started. Layabout is lucky she's got a soft touch. I'd best get some sleep. Orders just came in for practice shovels and pickaxes for the younglings. And I've yet to harvest the Zerk wood. Where does the time go? Disintegrating journal. An old journal, recently updated with details of an investigation into the old and grim place. The brittle pages of this book have been rendered illegible with age, save for the occasional name written in crimson ink. A newer, sturdier page has been inserted behind the front cover. It reads, "Found in the riverside structure to the south. Sheds no light on the purpose of that grim place, but confirms what we already know. It is very old. All else is speculation." Disorders of the nerves and mind. A treatise. A medical compendium describing varied mental disturbances and their treatments by cleric-physician Glennie Earl Mack. There came to me a woman, whom I shall henceforth call R, greatly distraught at the unusual tempers of her husband, whom I shall henceforth call B. 3 months prior, he suffered night sweats, crying out from sleep that he bore the mark of chaos. 2 months prior, he'd taken to calling himself by the name Saravok. 1 month ago, he'd speak of little else but the throne for which he is destined. I attended to be at the couple's farmhouse. He sat calmly at the table, an unknown book clutched to his chest. I detected no curse nor loathsome spirit upon him, nor the presence of magic. Yet, upon shining the light of candle flame upon him, he raised the book high and exclaimed, "The deaths they bring shall awaken the Father, and through them he will rise." I snatched the book from his hand and flung it into the hearth, where it burned not in red or yellow flame, but pure black. It left but a single scrap, reading, "He foresaw his coming death, and seeded his essence across the land." B shivered inside, as if waking from a nightmare. He had no memory of the book, nor the words he had spoken. Diagnosis: unspecified neurotic enthrallment. Treatment: herbal tincture of garlic and drace. Sipped thrice daily until exhaustion lifts. Drow's letter. Orders taken from the body of a drow scout. They're written in an elegant, if angry hand. Track the druid. Find whatever burrow he runs to and report back to me. Remember, you are only a scout. Do not engage. Do not kill anyone. Simply observe and return. I shall decide what we do next. M. A druid notebook. An aging notebook telling the fragmented story of an accidental death and a cursed blade. This is an ancient notebook whose ink is faded and pages are starting to crumble. It's not easy, but some words can still be made out. Ketheric is finished, but it cost us the land. Darkness has fallen. Corruption is everywhere. Chased by shadows, picking us off, druids and harpers alike. Our wounded were safe. I returned searching for survivors. Lost, but I found his shade. I put it to rest and took his glaive. Blade infused with shadow, I have locked it away to serve as a reminder that even victory can taste bitter. Dusty Book, an academic print of a literary play, complete with extensive notes and annotations. The beginning of this book proudly declares it to be a play of Dame Inia, followed by an extensive introduction and 23 pages of notes on the text. Though the book itself seems barely touched, one stanza is encircled twice. There is a light in every living thing. It's crawling towards the surface to survive, and in its wake it tramples everything. We kill the rest so that one can thrive. Elder's Journal. This thick journal details the life and times of a Dweger elder. The clan's gone soft, maybe even me, no way around it. I spent 10 tides of the dark lake with my head bowed to the exile. I spent 20 tides with pick and shovel in hand, mining for steel in Dunspierin. And for 7 tides, I stood motionless between the block stones till the Tholdors released me. I was forged in Leduger's fires. I learned to toil without complaint, to expect no reward without effort. Leduger is the taskmaster. We are his workers. This is our way. 50 wet seasons have passed since the Tholdors refused to admit me. For 40 of them, Thrin would have lifted mountains herself if Leduger willed it. Now she canes slaves at the behest of this drow and his so-called absolute. Magmar will drown in that ale of his, if the night terrors do not claim him first. And me, I'll toil for the exile. But till I see a mountain of coin, I won't lift a damned finger for Thrin or that shit-grinned Neri she's been fawning over. Fables of Faerun 1. The Dim-Witted Drow. One of a series of thin tomes illustrating simple lessons to readers of all ages. Reading in 3, 2. Long ago, in the city of Menzoberranzan, a drow wizard called Zod studied magic in the Academy of Sorcery. Each 10 day, the Archmage would ask Zod to demonstrate his newfound skills, and each 10 day, Zod would fail. Sorcery educates only the brightest of pupils, warned the Archmage. Your scholarship must improve, or you will be expelled. That very night, Zod slipped out of Menzoberranzan to seek the hidden city of Mindflayers, Orindol. The library there boasted the most complete body of knowledge in the whole Underdark. I'll learn all that is and ever was, vowed Zod. The Archmage will have no choice but to keep me. Yet the longer Zod reached for Orindol, the more lost he became. His body weak and his stomach empty. The drow fell to the ground and reality faded. Zod awoke within a vast circular hall lined with tomes and tablets, untold knowledge etched on them. Orindol! I made it! I will know everything, he exclaimed. A wide smile crossed Zod's face. He barely noticed the tadpole wriggling just above his left eye. Yes, said a voice in Zod's head, everything. Fables of Faerun 5. The Boy and the Beholder. One of a series of thin tomes illustrating simple lessons to readers of all age. Reading in 3, 2. A shepherd's son tended to his father's flocks on the bank of the Kyanthar. The days grew long, and the boy grew bored. To amuse himself, he called out, "Beholder, beholder!" The shepherd came running, but there was no beholder. The boy pointed and giggled, but the shepherd scolded him. Do not cry, beholder, when there is no beholder. Promise? I promise, said the boy, but the next day was as boring as last. Beholder, the boy cried, and the father rushed to his side. The boy laughed and laughed, but the shepherd only frowned and shook his head. 3 days later, the boy spotted a round figure floating in the distance. It had one giant eye in the middle of its face, a mouth full of pointed teeth, a thin stalks growing from it, with each with an eye peeking from the tip. Beholder, beholder, he shouted, but no one came. The beholder began to float toward him, and the boy turned and ran and sprinted along the river. He ran and ran until he reached a high bank and could run no more. The boy cried and cowered, bracing for the beholder's deadly ray. Instead, a familiar voice said, "Turn around." The boy turned. There was no beholder, only the shepherd clad in a woolen cloak. A giant eye was painted on the front, and a toothy mouth below. Vines were sewn to the cloak's edges. You scared me, sobbed the boy. That makes us even, said his father, as he dried the boy's tears. The boy never cried beholder again. Fables of Faerun 6. The Cheerful Deep Gnome, one of a series of thin tomes illustrating simple lessons to readers of all ages. Deep in the Underdark lived Doyle, a plucky deep gnome slave. Day and night, he and his brother toiled for 5 Dwagar smiths, mining iron and mithril until their arms ached and their eyes burned. Faster, cried the Dwagar, and faster Doyle would dig, even into the night while his master slept, smiling all the while. How can you smile while we slave? Asked the brother. Because I wish our masters much success, was Doyle's reply. Words of the Dwagar's quality weapons and armor quickly spread. To meet demand, the Dwagar brought in more slaves and began to forge and stockpile their wares at the dig site. Yet Doyle dug harder than ever, his wide grin never faltering. Soon the Dwagar's operation grew so great that they commanded 20 deep gnome slaves. The day that the 21st came, Doyle laughed and whooped so loud his Dwagar captors sought silence in a nearby grotto. The slavers returned to find Doyle and his fellow deep gnomes clad in robust mithril armor and carrying mighty iron weapons, all taken from the slavers' stockpile. The 5 Dwagar fell quickly, for they were no match for 21 armed deep gnomes, and Doyle, he never stopped smiling. Beneath the fable, an incensed reader has written a brief review. Garbage. This is where the gnomes are getting bright ideas? Anyhow, I don't get it. The lesson makes no damn sense. Faded logbook. More a collection of sewn together pages than a book, the paper almost too faded to read. Most of the small logbook is left empty. The last entry reads, Log 182. I was wrong. Should have paid more attention to the drow sightings. Should have known they were only a prelude. Stupid to think we had outsmarted them. This will be my last entry. Mindthy will keep the records from now on. Faded logbook. A logbook detailing the various expeditions of Burrow Warden Myrna. The inside cover reads, Burrow Warden Myrna. The pages are lined with neat calculations, equipment logs, and expedition notes. The final entry reads, Expedition 42. Back after a 10-day in the northern quadrant. 2 potential mining sites scouted. Discovered a vein of Arandur. Also did a bang-up job. Organized shifts and led the first dig. Brother or not, he'll be a great Burrow Warden one day. But he needs to keep his temper in check and practice reading the stone. He's as blind as a surfacer sometimes. Planning to take him out later along the Ebon Lake to practice. Faded logbook. A faded logbook. Only the first few pages are filled in. Log 124. Signs of life near the outpost. Intelligent. Clearly trying to hide. Log 125. Still can't find the mysterious shapes. They know how to cover their tracks. Possibly drow. The next few entries are too faded to read. Log 129. Led them south. Rumors of a spectator there. Let the Underdark solve its own problems. Log 130. No sightings. Log 131. No sightings. Log 132. Minthe saw statues deep south, shaped like drow. Spectators shouldn't do that. Either way, that's one less problem to worry about. Faded note. Most of the words have all but faded from this scrap of paper. Read this every morning. Remember, she is not your friend. She is not your family. Do not eat the food unless she is watching. Do not drink the tea unless she is watching. Do not wear the mask. Do not wear the mask. Do not wear the mask. The word lies is written in large, thick letters across the rest of the text. Findings from the Hinterlands, new edition. This quarterly journal appears to have been recently published and rapidly passed through several hands. Its front and back cover grimy and soft with use. Most of its pages have been ripped out. Esteemed reader, while this journal is no stranger to surprising news from the outermost reaches of our fair land, I must warn that this season's edition contains news some might find, in a word, shocking. It might be that the cult of the Absolute, reported by our agents in Eltrugard, will fade like any other, but reports of alliances between Goblin and Lolth-sworn Drow, Troll and Dwagar are a particular cause for alarm. The seriousness of the enclosed report is quite unique in our history. Prior to publication, messengers were sent from localities including Baldur's Gate, Scornubel, and Candlekeep. Let us hope these reports are received with the proper gravity for the safety of all. Sincerely, Mingus Etcherly, Editor-in-Chief. Folk Songs of Faerun. Music, tabulature, and song lyrics populate the pages of this unfinished bardic tome. The book is a clear work in progress, though already extensive, chronicling various musical styles and notation from across Faerun. Amid the orderly symbols and blackened ink, one page stands out. It is awash in color and meandering arcs. The script below reads, Myconid Song. By Ugma, I hear it, and I see it, and I know it, and I feel it. But I can't write it. Or can I? Forge construction log. Rigorous and obscure analytics reported by one Silovyali. This decaying tome details the scientific and arcane principles behind the Great Forge's construction. The results of multiple experiments are explained in exhausting detail. Hammer test 2.5.66.8. The forge is functional, but operating at a scant one-third of its full potential. At current fractalization values, the hammer can force various iron alloys into molds, but adamantine remains unmoved and unmarked, increasing levels of hypotorque to 6.94, doubling magma heat valves. Hammer test 2.6.7D.0. Test unsuccessful. So hot was the magma that the adamantine shattered entirely under the force of the hammer. The properties of superheated adamantine are intriguing, but I seek to mold it, not to crush it, maintaining hypotorque levels, reducing magma heat valves by 1/5. Fringe Philosophy, Volume 5. A dense academic volume, printed with no eye for design or delight. The publisher's note claims this volume promotes magical theory too radical for the mainstream. This excerpt is attributed to High Artificer Thaura Bryn of Baldur's Gates. I suppose they seek to silence me, believing that an artificer of the High House would not stoop to publish in any volume outside of the great Gondian journals they so diligently guard. But they forget that I am not so grand. Before I lent my name and my knowledge to the High House of Wonders and all the marvels therein, I was not but a lazy farm girl who liked to look up. And that was how I first saw them, the slow and serene earth motes, entire mountains migrating through the sky above. It was later I learned of their origins, of the ancient Netherese empire that fashioned them, of the residual magic so potent it sustained them still. The wizards of Netheril carved marvels out of the mundane, lifted the earth aloft for industry, for sport. It was later still, after I earned my place at the High House, that I learned of the long shadow Nethril cast along the evolution of our craft. That their flying cities fell in folly and flames does not diminish the wonders they wrought, and this stubborn aversion to studying them, to learning what they learned, is the very antithesis of Gon's teachings. Yes, many of the catastrophes inflicted upon the centuries were fruit born of meddling with Netherese seed. Yes, their last shining bastion fell into shadow, their lore twisted to Shar's dark and destructive designs. And yes, I say again, whether the High House will sanction it or no, to study the very flame of creation is worth it, even should the fires consume us. Goblin's Drawing. A childlike charcoal drawing of 3 stick figures. Drawn in thick charcoal lines upon an animal skin, this childlike portrait depicts 3 stick figures, a goblin with sparks in its hands, a square humanoid figure, and what seems to be an elf, each of them wearing a simple crown. Grimy Report. An old, almost illegible report with more animal prints than handwriting. Paw prints suggest an animal walked across the century, smudging everything except a few words. Animal Scouts sent. Eastern town. Villagers possibly still. Live. Violent. Grimforge history. A layer of soot coats this tome's thick hide binding. The binding of this book is thicker than its combined pages, which are surprisingly devoid of detail. We know little of the ones that came before, but we know they worshipped the Lady of Loss. We know they constructed the great fortress, and named, the next few words are smeared and illegible. But whence they came and why they departed this is a mystery even to Ketheric Thorm himself. We do know that it is Shar's chosen that has heard her call, just as Grimforge served our mistress 800 years nigh, so it would again. Here Thorm's dark justice seers shall rise. Here we will fulfill our goddess pact. Here we will rebuild the lost city of Grimforge. So far will our shadows spread, and so dark will they be that Saloon's light may be forever extinguished. Halsin's Journal, Volume 1. A log of the Druid's encounter with a goblin detachment and a parasite-infected drow. Extraordinary happenings. While meditating in the forest, Nettie and I were ambushed by a pack of goblins, led by a drow. We had no choice but to defend ourselves. But that is not the extraordinary, or rather, disturbing part. On the drow's death, a parasitic creature emerged from the corpse and attempted to escape. I managed to capture it and have the host's cadaver here in my study. I told no one of my fears. Nettie suspects, but knows better than to ask. I will investigate further before informing the others. Kaga will demand answers I don't have yet. I had better record any further findings in a separate volume and keep them upon my person, lest prying eyes jump to the wrong conclusions. Hand-drawn map. A map of Grimforge drafted by a careful hand. A map of Grimforge, drawn by hand, yet highly detailed. Points of interest are marked with black X's aside from 2, which are identified by bold red circles, 1 on each level of the fortress. The words hiding spot are written in the upper level circle. The lower level circle is identified as smoke powder reserve. Handwritten letter. A letter from Emerith to Leonor, expressing the former's concern about the latter's pet bullet, or boulette. Dearest Lenore, I'm not sure I should say this, but your last letter really worried me. Why in all hells would you tame a boulette? Just because you found it near Myrna's grave doesn't mean that that's a sign. I'm really worried about you, Lenore. A boulette is not a pet. Using it as a guardian is one thing, but you sound quite taken by it. I know you don't want to come back before you finish your research, but if you're feeling lonely, you know my door is always open. Lots of love and hugs, Emerith. P.S. It really warms my heart that you put the autumn crocus flowers on Myrna's grave. I remember she liked to roll around in them, even though she'd always sneeze after. She was such a soft and loyal dog. I wish there was more I could do. Handwritten note. A meticulously written note, scented with perfume. Dear Flora, happy birthday. I know I finally finished a painting. And not just any painting. Does it look familiar? I'll give you a hint. It involved me getting down on one knee and you making me the happiest woman alive. I best go. I hear silence in the classroom next door, and that is never a good sign. Happy birthday, my love, Amanda. Harper's Map. A map that's seen better days, but recent editions suggest it's still in use. This stained, ragged map has passed through countless hands. A little harp marks an area called Moonrise Towers, with a small, inky crescent that's sketched in the nearby forest. Below the crescent is a more recent cache. Harper's Notebook. Various counts of impiety and blasphemy among locals, all bound in one ragged book. A tattered collection of reports, held together with a moon and harp seal. There is frequent mention of sacrilegious activity among a local Selunite sect. Hastily written note. A quickly scrawled note from the druid Halsin with instructions for his apprentice. My dear Nettie, I entrust you with the circlet to open the library. Wear it always. If you need to enter the vault, talk to Wrath. He has the rune, but won't give it to anyone, so be sure you have a good reason to ask. Protect my research while I am gone, and take care of the animals. Don't give Fish to Tuffet. She's getting lazy. Master Halsin. Hidebound Journal. The memories and plans of a displaced drow. One favor, one faithful servant. That is all I summoned. No more and no less than Malice Duerden has ever had, or indeed the mother of lusts herself. The Yoklol was quite a sight in all its forms. I'd read of its foul odor, but I found it intoxicating, like rosewater. So it smashed a few artifacts, hissed at a master. The Archmage should have revered me for such a conjuring. Instead, he threatened to curse me, to make me a drider. Yet my time will come. My time will come. Soon I will return to Menzoberranzan and sorcery. Then the Archmage will worship me. I will be served. Highcliffe's Blueprints. Intricate blueprints for 3 impressive-sounding weapons. Precise arcs and neatly drawn lines form the blueprints of 3 weapons: a greatsword, a sickle, and a dagger. Each length and angle is marked with exact measurements, and forging instructions are printed carefully along the bottom of the page, emphasizing an unusual ingredient: Susur bark. The Susur bark can only be applied to an ordinary, unmodified blade. Household Prayer. A common prayer often handwritten and placed by the grace of the gods upon a household. Lanthander to light, saloon to guide, Kalemvor to judge, and passage provide. I'm sorry. This letter is heavily creased, as if it's been folded and unfolded many times. It's marked by water stains that could only have come from tears. Miriam, I'm sorry it's been so long since I've written. A lot has happened. First, some good news. Maggie Two Fingers won't be bothering you anymore. I paid her back in full. I'm sorry. She should never have got your name in the first place. Now for the bad news. My love, I'm not coming home. Not for a while, at least. The money came from a mercenary group. Probably best I don't give their name. And I've agreed to a couple jobs in Icewind Dale in return. They paid me up front because... Gods, it's so strange to write. Because they need a warlock. They needed me. They needed a warlock. They needed me. I took the deal the Cambion offered. I'm not going to say I had no choice, because that would be a lie. But I do not regret it. I'm a new man. I feel strong for the first time in my life. Aside from being awoken in the middle of the night by the smell of sulfur, he likes to drop by to see how everything's going. I have no complaints. If you do not reply to this letter, I understand. And if you do not want me to come back at all, well, I understand that too. I love you, Miriam, and I want you to be happy, even if it's not with me. Edmund. In Search of the Night Song. This tome appears fairly new printed. It can't be more than a decade or two old. Fascinating that such a seemingly valuable object has proven so difficult to track down. Indeed, treasure hunters the realm over have traveled the Sword Coast with one goal in mind, to find the Night Song. Yet each by each they have failed, indicating dead ends, rebuffs, or else disappearing altogether. My latest inquiry was with the half-orc named Grayley, who insisted he'd come as close as possible to the relic as one may go, without forfeiting his or her life. He indicated that the object is not, as most reports indicate, in the Selûnite fort adjacent to the river Kyanthar. It is, in fact, held in an old Charon fortress somewhere in the environs of Moonrise Towers. However, Grayley reported that some kind of potent shadow prevents one from approaching where this forest might be. Inscrutable journal. This worn, leather-bound journal smells of moisture and rotting vegetation. Only a few loose pages are legible, blood having soaked through the others. We've followed Musharib's instructions so far, but something feels odd. We've encountered no creatures along the way, only alien noises from all directions. Sleep evades us, and the muck of my boots has hardened into a permanent feature. Hopefully you find. Lost more hair this morning. I knew there were side effects to coming back, but I didn't expect it to be so. Arak. I heard him laughing. The lamentations of the Omuons droning like a chorus. What is the purpose of this hellhole? He speaks through the walls, the ceiling, the floor. Is he the tomb? Is he... On the last legible page is a crudely drawn charcoal outline of a bearded devil's face, its mouth agape in a silent scream. Journey through the jungle. The adventures of one Baron von Baron and his goblin guide Jaw as they brave the thick jungles of Chult. The sun had just fallen below the horizon when I first heard its call. 1,000 reed pipes at once, whistling a single beautiful, terrible song. Ulu Thalong, said Jaw, it's coming. Jaw dropped her pack and scurried up the nearest spider. With a bit more effort, I climbed a tree of my own, and the two of us surveyed the grassy ground beneath. Awoo! There it was again, above and beneath and all around. So close my skull vibrated from the sound. The ferns and foliage under me rippled and swayed. Jaw held a finger to her lips to demand my silence, and in one motion it snatched her. A vine? A tentacle? It hardly mattered. The hunter had found its prey. Jaw's scream swelled, then faded as Ulu Thalong dragged her away. I leapt down to give chase, but the creature left no mark. The grasses were untrampled, the shrubs unbroken. I had only the memory of that harrowing call to guide me. Lessons for Sensible Living. 4. Cities and How to Survive Them. A slim, cheaply constructed book. The front cover is decorated with an engraving of a grimacing man smoking a clay pipe. The first page summarizes the contents. The remaining pages clumsily elaborate on them in great detail. 1. On not going to cities. The simplest piece of advice for sensible folk is to avoid cities entirely. 2. On marketplaces. People often tell me, Harrington, my fleeces and turnips are worth more in a city market than at a local village fair. Fools. To them I say, your fleeces and turnips will be robbed long before you reach the market square, and you will have only a few lumps and bruises to take home. 3. On taverns. All sensible folk enjoy draining a mug of locally produced ale in the company of their friends, but some of you may have heard the tale may have heard tell of the extravagant taverns that populate the cities of the Sword Coast. If bawdy names like the Blushing Mermaid and the Wizard's Stave were not sufficient warning of their impropriety, let it be known that you will be robbed long before you finish your first tankard, and will only have a few lumps and bruises for company. 4. On sewerage. Be like you, keep a pot by your bedside, and cast out the leavings into a communal pit of a morn. Sensible and cleanly behavior. Many cities have dispensed with such simple methods of hygienic living, and instead the waste of the inhabitants commingles and flows through the great channels beneath the very streets, a breeding ground for mucky creatures. 5. On becoming lost. Cities are far too large, and you will become lost almost immediately. A fellow once told me that Baldur's Gate is actually 3 cities in one, an outer, an inner, and an upper. I believe he thought I'd be impressed, but I simply spat in his eye and sent him on his way. Harrington Nethelin. Letter. An affectionate letter, probably. Hey, idiot. You left a snot rag on my kitchen table. I haven't thrown it out yet. A lot of times I want to push you into a pit of snakes, but sometimes you say something so stupid and funny, I think about it for days. Don't panic. Let's talk when you're home. Be safe out there. Rhea. Letter from M. This letter begins in an elegant hand, but soon descends into furious scrawl. This letter begins in an elegant cursive, but ends in a harsh sloping scrawl. Ethel. Forces are at work in Baldur's Gate. The mewling wretches are trying to edge me out of my own territory. I've killed at least 4 of their agents. None have talked. None, not yet, at least. I doubt you hear anything beyond the bleating of your ridiculous sheep, but if you catch even a whisper, send word, immediately. M. Letter from Ethel, written in a rough, sloping scrawl. This letter is unfinished. Blotches of ink are spattered on this unfinished letter, written in an uneven scrawl. Sister dearest, are you feeling all right, Petal? I can't believe you let some pup give you the slip. I'd be mortified. Worry not, my red caps nabbed the bugger. They're taking their sweet time with him. The screaming stopped a few nights past, but the sobbing continues. He'll die regretting he crossed a hag. A mother with a failing mind, you know me so well. I have the most darling mask for her. You must come to visit. Letter to Ethel. This letter is written in elegant cursive. Ethel, I've heard business has been slow. Rest assured, I have a job for you. A client fled Baldur's Gate without payment. My agents picked up his trail along the Kionthar and have ensured he will pass through your territory. Do as you wish with him. In exchange, I have a girl who suits your particular appetites. Her mother's mind is failing. My contact has assured her you can help. I'll have her sent by the usual route. M. Letter to Kaga. Kaga, Olodon has sent word of your progress. I am pleased that the Rite of Thorns has begun. I depart soon from Cloakwood to Baldur's Gate. Should you need further aid from my circle, now's the time to ask. Once cloistered, the Emerald Grove will be the Shadow Druid's domain, and you its first druid. In Faldorn's memory, Archdruid Eylis. Letter to Eerie. A faded letter addressed to a certain Eerie, the Sparkstruck. It is dated 2 Alturiac 1481 DR. Dearest Eerie, I do not know if you're coming back, if you'll even read this message, but if you do come back, could you wait for me? I'll only be gone a few 10 days, but the thought of coming back to this empty tower, with nothing but Bernard to fill these halls, I don't know how much longer I could take this. I miss you. I miss you so much. I can't shake the thought of how different things might have been if only I'd been less stubborn, working on your lightning inventions, my magic. Eating together, laughing at your stupid puns, waking up next to you. Despite everything, I still love you. So please, if you read this, can you wait? I'll be back. I won't be long. Yours forever, Lenore. A few sentences are penned below in a different hand. I've waited. I waited until Tarsak. I'll always wait for you, but you didn't come. Magic of the Weave, an introduction. A hefty book for beginning spellcasters. Though mostly untruthful, the author, clearly a wizard himself, seemed to possess quite a particular bias. Few try to understand the weave, a true pity, for only they who are truly attuned to the weave can rightly call themselves spellcasters. Thus comes the question, what is the weave? It is an essential element of the universe. It runs through everything in unseen threads. It is what makes magic possible. It is also, though I will not go into further detail here, the goddess Mystra herself. See Magic of the Weave, Mystra, and the Spell Plague. The weave isn't magic, precisely. Rather, it is the raw material from which magic is woven, not entirely unlike how a collection of threads is shaped and formed into a garment. Those with the necessary talent and skill can manipulate the weave and perform magic by casting spells. Developing the skill takes years of learning and constant practice. You might have heard of those who can cast spells because they are born with an innate connection to the weave, commonly called sorcerers. Or worse, because they struck a bargain with an otherworldly creature, also known as warlocks. Do not be deceived. Their magic is unpredictable, uncontrolled, and, in some cases, not even rightfully theirs. No, to truly know and manipulate the weave is an art, but those wizards who master it will know the limitless power and the beauty the weave provides. Magmar's Record, a Dwagar's drinking journal. Night 1. Just a few sips of slow spout, and I was perspiring piss. Swear to Laduger. It was pitch black till the mind flare came. So real, I heard its tentacles writhing. Strip, it commanded, straight in my head, and my hands peeled my rags right off like they had minds of their own. Take it, it said. Next, held out a dagger, black with old blood. I watched as my fingers wrapped around the hilt. Then, the final command, carve. I cried out and shook my head. No, no, no. And then shot straight up, sticky with sweat and caked in shit. Just a dream, Pist told me, but it didn't feel like one, more like a memory. Night 2. Kept down a whole mug of it before my head hit the stone. I stood naked and shivering, my right hand gripping that drugging dagger. Couldn't move my legs, even a finger width, like they were cast with iron. A mind flayer's claws caressed my face from behind. Carve. I screamed and shook as my own hand brought the blade to my chest and sliced across it. When my hand removed the blade, the bloody likeness of a mind flayer remained. Woke up in a flash with Brithvar looming over. Lingering memories of our illicit enslavement, he said, from back when we were dwarf folk. Then he gave me a good wallop for sucking down ale. Drink won't lead no place good, he said, but that shit sure feels good going down. Map of Moonhaven. This ancient map is faded, but the detailed outline of Moonhaven is still clearly visible. Let me examine it. Okay, so I think this is the river Kyanthar. This is Baldur's Gate. We're like here-ish. Or here-ish. Okay. This war map offers a detailed plan to attack the village of Moonhaven, encouraging soldiers to kill in merciless silence. Mirkon's story. Mirkon presents to you, describing how you saved him from the Harpies, and how he thinks you were amazing. There was once a boy on a beach. He saw there was a harpy nest. He was a very good climber. He wanted to climb to the top and steal from the harpy nest. But the harpy was very mean. She sang a song and the boy forgot what he was doing. But then an adventurer passed by. The adventurer was very strong and killed the harpy in one blow and saved the boy. The boy was very cold and scared. He was standing in the water, so he was very cold. But the adventurer had saved him. The boy thought the adventurer was amazing. The boy wanted to be like the adventurer. He wanted to be strong and safe. He wanted to be strong and safe people and never be scared again, just like the adventurer. The end. Missives of Candlekeep. This book is packed full of meticulously copied letters, preserving even the handwriting of the originals. A select collection of the most notable letters sent from Candlekeep. Many are dry reports of celestial movements or incomprehensible details of arcane rituals. However, this letter catches your eye. To Sage Elminster, over the past year, I have delivered many of your letters to Master Gorion, so I wanted to be the one to deliver the sad news. Alas, he is with us no more. Gorion and his ward left Candlekeep soon after your last letter to him arrived, but they departed in the middle of the night, but were waylaid shortly after on the road to Baragost. The gate warden tells me that Gorion saw to it that several of his attackers joined him in the next world before he was struck down. I hope this brings you the same grim comfort it brings me. Of his ward there is no sign. In some better news, I received your letter to the library and was able to find much of the material you requested. It has been carefully secured and will travel with this letter. Yours in honor, Tristan P. Shale, librarian at Candlekeep. P.S. I hope you'll forgive my curiosity, but might I ask, why do you need so much information about Ballspawn? What exactly are you working on? No cause for alarm, all caps. Every page of this clumsily assembled book is filled with large blocky text. An illustration of a burning city introduces this book's frenzied summary of Eltrugard's recent history. People of the Sword Coast, there is no cause for alarm. You have no doubt heard of the harrowing events that befell the city of Eltruel, an entire city dispatched to the hells. Perhaps you have also heard the deranged gossip and rumors that a similar cataclysmic atrocity may befall the city of Baldur's Gate. Have no fear. The so-called holy city of Eltruel has in fact long been a foul pit of devil worshippers. From the ruling class to the common folk, the citizens were all touched by the infernal, whether it was in their blood from birth or they were seduced by its power. They were evil to their core. Eltruel invited its own doom. Baldur's Gate is far from perfect, but anyone who believes the rot runs as deep as in Eltruel is either mad or an Eltrugardian propagandist. The fists will defend our city with their very lives if they must, and I promise you that no infernal conspiracies infect the minds and souls of our noble dukes and patriarchs. A history of contempt. Have we already forgotten that before this latest madness, Eltruel was infested with the undead? Should we forget the aggressive expansion of Eltrugard? They have never been our friends. Vigilance will protect us. Do not be alarmed. Notes on Drow Parasite. Notes are written by Halzen on the dead Drow's parasite. Anatomical sketches of both a drow and illithid tadpole are accompanied by notes written in an urgent scribble. The parasite was nestled deep in the brain matter, illithid, undoubtedly. Yet the host seemed unaware while alive. No visible signs of ceramorphosis on the cadaver. Most strange. The final note is a single underlined word. Altered? Old school book. A weather-worn and faded school attendance book. A school attendance log fills the ancient pages. As the pages and days progress, more and more people's names vanish from the entries. In urgent script, a note in margin states that someone has to investigate what's become of the missing children and their families. On Antidotes. Part 2 of the Basics of Alchemy series by Haskin Xesilafin, a descaled dragonborn who lived a life of difficult pain and commendable selflessness. A deep crease in the spine makes the booklet fall open to reveal one recipe in particular. Neat writing in the corner marks it is, quote, an antidote for all known potions, end quote. This is it, the recipe that made me decide to publish my notes. The story might not interest you, but I shall record it for posterity. Feel free to skip to the actual recipe. While sitting in the elf song, sipping my usual hot cocoa, the heat soothing the pain from my scaleless hands, a small child, human, stumbled through the door, sick as a dog. All the other patrons seemed like they wanted help, but no one could pay for an antidote for a stranger's child. Meanwhile, the ingredients were just lying around in the kitchen. Every single one of those people could have saved that child, but only I knew how. It felt like a crime. Recipe for 1 bottle of antidote. Extracts needed: salts of mugwort, suspensions of bullywug trumpet. Method: slowly trickle salts into suspension. Stir clockwise until the concoction's consistency turns almost chewable. It might turn slightly green, but this is purely aesthetic and has no effect on the antidote itself. And remember, when in doubt with alchemy, just recall the rule of 3. Thrice the same ingredient forms an extract excellent. On Death and Resurrection. A thin, pliable volume, smelling faintly of dust. An excerpt from the ongoing metatext, Rebound, by Josefa Elgin, a scholar excommunicated from the Church of Denier for her heretical efforts to reconstruct the metatext, her God's annal of lost and hidden knowledge. Of what value is a life? Far too esoteric a topic to warrant any serious critical consideration between these pages. Surely, or so it would seem at first glance. But once we push aside the mysticism and dewy-eyed sentiment so often clouding our assessment, it is clear that across all the spinning planes, each and every life does indeed have a quantifiable value. It is simply not that not all are equally valuable. Consider, we already know that the destruction of our material form is not the end. If anything, our souls are more free after death, transcending planar barriers in search of a resting place that best befits our deeds, beliefs, and station in life. But even this assessment is subject to market forces. Lord Kalemvor, weighing our souls against how thoroughly we have given them over to other gods, empowering them in turn. Or there is, of course, an alternate route, not the end of the path, but a chance to retread it. Clerics across the realm wield the power to return life to any soul deemed worthy or willing enough. It is strange, then, that these so frequently intersect with those deemed wealthy enough, for the components for such a spell are beyond the means of most mortals. I have interviewed those who have made such a return, and in truth have found them to be of the most dull and unimaginative sort that I cannot possibly imagine what it is they were so eager to return to. If a true assessment of the journey is to be made, then there is simply no replacement for embarking upon it oneself. Perhaps one day this great volume of learning will make me worthy enough to walk that path, and wealthy enough to return. On Educating the Faithful, the slender, tightly bound manuscript has the spider engraved on the front of it, scratched into oblivion. An excerpt from a lengthy speech by Grand Matron Tarai, first delivered in Menzoberranzan and recorded by a Seldarian spy. Praise be to Lolth, mother of all drow. Her web binds us, body and soul, and strangles the unworthy before they can draw breath. Those who stand before me have proven their worth. You shall educate all new converts to Loth's laws, using any means necessary. Many of them fear the goddess, as they should, but their faith is not yet true. Their minds are simple, and should be treated accordingly. They must follow the order of every priestess like a sacred decree. They must never cover their eyes and insult Loth's gift. They must honor the house that raised them from their pathetic, treasonous origins. They must keep our secrets upon pain of death. Ensure that death is public, should the time ever come. Loth smiles on those who are creative in matters of torture. On the origins of the Zentarim, a loose sheaf of paper printed with an eye over quantity, for quantity over quality. An excerpt from the ongoing metatext, Rebound, by Josefa Elgin, a scholar excommunicated from the Church of Deneir for her heretical efforts to reconstruct the metatext, her gods, an annal of lost and hidden knowledge. But perhaps greater still than their monopoly as the continent's largest private army, the true achievement of the modern Zentarim is in the sanitized image they present to the world. Viewed by most as an efficient, if unscrupulous, mercenary organization, few would guess at the Black Network's dark origin, as a cult dedicated to the dark god Bane, one bent towards bringing all peoples to heel beneath his creed of tyranny and domination. Many among their ranks scoff when confronted with this fact, citing overblown conspiracies and reassuring me that the only gods whom the Zentarim give worship to today are the twin deities, profit and power. This is not to say the organization has entirely shed its dark side. However, alongside the clenched fist of their military, another hand works from the shadows to ensure that the network prospers even in peacetime. For just as vital as the movement of troops is the movement of goods, legal or otherwise, and there is no border or market that is ever truly closed to one bearing the seal of the Black Network. Oral histories of Faerun, Gith, and Mind Flayers. This thin tome is bookmarked with scraps of illegibly annotated scraps of paper. This book comprises several chapters, one for each cited source. It claims to contain first-hand transcriptions of the oral histories of several storytellers throughout the realm. Chapter 4, Baldur the Swift, 700 years of age, wood elf storyteller hailing from the Wood of Sharp Teeth. It took me several 10 days of quiet habitation in the wood before the venerable Baldur felt comfortable revealing his presence to me. The longer I stayed, demonstrating that I was no threat to his health and peace, the more open he was to gentle inquiry. This tale, relayed to me on a chilling morning as we stoked a small fire between us, was like none I had heard before or since. I asked if it were fiction, and he insisted emphatically it was as true as his own right eye. Long ago, before my eyes and ears, before your lonesome quill, dear scribe, there was an empire of people, or perhaps only belief. An empire of brain-eaters, soul-wasters. They called themselves Illithids, the flayers of minds. The children of Gith were bowed, bent in service to the flayers, a passionate people, made to serve a cold belief. The flayers were untouchable, their minds a great oppressor. No proud will or passion could break Gith's children free. Until, at last, a reckoning. Its source unknown, its power unproven, but its events history-making. The cowed could not be cracked. Gith's children fought back valiantly. Their freedom theirs. The flayers bent and broken till today. Order of the Gauntlet on matters of law and justice. A collection of essays on law and order. Embossed on the cover is a hand grasping a sword's blade. Good is the absence of evil. It means to seek peace and to enforce it. It means to seek depravity and to denounce it. It means to entrust in your God. It means to trust in your God and yourself. For the greatest good of all is called faith. Goodness is not lawfulness. Law is commandment, of God or of mortals. It is the call of authority and the sanction of its opponents. Law is the father of order. To renounce it is to invite chaos, in which there is neither meaning nor life. Law can be corrupted. Lawfulness is not goodness. I say to you, then, that we seek not to be good or to be lawful, but to be just. For what is it to be good if we cannot define the acts that oppose it? What is to be lawful if it is a devil's commands we obey? Justice is the hand that feeds the hungry, and the shield that guards the weak. It is the sword that fells the wicked, and the cloak that warms the indignant. It is for justice that the order of the gauntlet stands watch. It is justice that Tyr and Torm, Helm and Hoar demand. Parchment, at best an optimistic letter. A childish doodle of a goblin presenting a fungal bouquet to a drow adorns this crumpled letter. Dearest, your excellency, and most prettiest Minthara, you might not remember me. I ain't nobody important after all. I was chasing chickens with the lads when you came to visit Boss Ragslin. You looked right at me when you told him that if we was as good as killing humans as we was at plucking poultry, we might be worth a damn. Made me feel proper special to be recognized like that. Next raid, I will spill so much blood that Absolute have to notice me. Then I'll come to Moonrise and you'll notice me too. I'm the one with the stumpy leg and the gammy eye. Claga. Patched parchment. A small poem about love and loss is inscribed on this torn paper. The paper is torn and patched in many places as if it was well used but treasured. On it is a small poem without a name. These empty sheets are all that's left of you. The last of all the thoughtless gifts you gave. I will hold on to them. It's all I can do. I can't throw them away. I've never been that brave. Perfumed letter. Still legible in spite of water stains and smeared ink. Sigh, I love you. There, I said it. And if you meet me tomorrow, I'll say it again. And again. And keep on saying it till we're old and gray. So let's do it. Let's go to Baldur's Gate. I know it's risky, but so's staying here. The last few months have been hard. But they're always a little easier when you're there. Leave your boat and meet me at the hill overlooking the old bridge. Bring whatever you can carry. We'll make do without the rest. Don't be late. Love, Anna. Potion of healing recipe. This book is redolent with the enticing smell of paper and ink. This small recipe has helped me through a lot. Without my scales, my hide smarts and tears. Without my scales, my hide smarts and tears with the slightest touch. While it has never healed me fully, every drop soothes. I hope it might similarly soothe whatever ails you. Someone has filled the rest of my page with repetitions of, why is it always healing potions? This god's damned primitive village. And the occasional, someday I'll kill that mongrel of a master. Luckily, the recipe itself is still mostly legible. Recipe for 1 potion of healing. Extracts needed. Salts of rogue's morsel, suspension of mirrorgrass. Method. Stir the potion until a vortex forms. Carefully tip in the salts. Keep stirring until the salts dissolve and the solution takes on a red hue. And keep in mind, when in doubt with alchemy, just recall the rule of 3. Thrice the same ingredient forms an excellent extract. Research notes. Notes detailing A series of unholy experiments. Raise dead. Failed. Gone too long. Body decomposed. Reanimation. Failed. Came back as a ghoul. Had to kill again. Speak with dead. Failed. Answers unhelpful. Clone. Failed. Needs living tissue. Reanimation plus clone. Failed. Had to kill both ghouls. Resurrection. Failed. Why? Magical curse? True resurrection. I have reached the limits of my skills and resources. The book offers help. Dare I accept it? Ritual diagram. A plain, unadorned note. An ornate diagram is drawn upon this parchment, depicting a ritual of some kind. At the bottom, two figures, a spider and an elf, are sketched with overlapping circles. A single word is penned beneath them. Transcendence. Scrawled notes. Scribbled goblin notes. A scrap of paper containing what appeared to be ideas for a love letter. Can't compare her to the moon or the stars or any of that rubbish because she lives underground. She ain't got any scabs or boils, so I can't compliment the best ones. Might think I'm too small. Tell her I'll buy a footstool for when we're kissing. Put some death spiders in my hair next time I see her. Probably just send her some bits of people what I killed. Scribbled note. A few sentences regarding a search for mithril are all that remain on this musty note. Must find new sources. Nearby mithril veins are near depletion, and the quantities required for Brother Silov's most recent project were considerable. Some acolytes have taken to calling it grim for the place it was made, though never within Brother Silov's hearing. Scribbled notes. Unedited reflections of a mad wizard. Scattered notes are scrawled by a chaotic hand. Protector. Guardian of the Adamantine Forge. From Magma Rose. Only in Magma Destroyed. Hot. Hammer. Hot. Hammer. Where? A small map is drawn underneath, marked by numerous X's. The following words are scratched beneath it. Dorn knows. Scroll of evidence. A snug tube designed to protect its contents from wind, weather, and time. The first few inches of this scroll are written in formal, elaborate script. To the Emerald Enclave, and those deemed worthy to see this record, greetings from those who harp. Know ye that the one known as Ketheric Thorm, Paladin of Shar, is guilty of crimes against body and spirit. They include, but are not limited to, murder, slavery, and desecration of temples most holy. Let our intent be known, an alliance between the Harpers and the Emerald Enclave. United, we may end Thorm's reign of terror. The High Harpers eagerly await your good word. Shar and Registry, a scuffed and battered tome, clearly passed through many hands down through the years. The Ladies' Worshippers, a registry of proud followers recruited by her loyal paladin, Ketheric Thorm. Pages upon pages of names filled this book. Some are only nicknames, while others consist of multiple noble titles. All of them are scratched out and annotated with no longer. Shipment orders. Simple, direct orders on how to deliver a chest. Deliver the chest to me unopened. Read the first sentence again. Open it and I will know, because you will be dead. This is not a threat. This is what will happen if you open the chest. NF. Simple poison recipe. This book is redolent with the enticing smell of paper and ink. I have long wondered about whether to publish any malevolent concoctions I have encountered. Nikros convinced me with that damnable smile of his. But it is true that the life of an adventurer can be made safer through a good offense. Please use this recipe responsibly and do not cause any harm to other thinking creatures. Recipe for 1 vial of simple poison. Extracts needed. Vitriol of bone cap. Ashes of dagroot. Method. Sprinkle ashes over the vitriol. Do not stir. Cap the vial and wait until it exudes an acrid smell. And remember, when in doubt, with alchemy, just recall the rule of 3. Thrice the same ingredient forms an excellent extract. Soul Coins, a treatise. The red leather cover of this manuscript is stamped with a grotesque sigil bearing resemblance to a screaming face. Academic disclosure. This research was funded independently and conducted at a site in Avernus, the first plane of the 9 hells. Candlekeep does not encourage or promote the entrapment of mortal souls. Soul coins, as a concept, are one of merciless simplicity, the sum of personal and magical essence. The soul is bound into a minted piece of infernal iron and used as currency by devils and their cohort. They are frequently traded, for their value can purchase mercenaries, magical items, and even fuel the strange engines in the hells. However, there's a fascinating culture surrounding soul coins as well. I spoke to a devil who admitted she has one coin that she will never sell, for it was the bargain that got her promoted out of lemur status. She connected me to a half-elf warlock who had promised his soul to a coin after death. I was able to look at his contract, which is reproduced below. The next 50 pages appear to be a painstakingly written legal document in Infernal, with a headache-inducing number of footnotes. Spatter Diary, a sturdy book lined with lists, ponderings, and enumerations. A badly charred diary with property of Wolbren written on the inside cover. In one of the few legible entries, the author wonders if he'll ever see his friend Barkus again, now that he's departed for the surface world. Study of the Sword Coast. More a scrapbook than a study. This records maps and snippets of knowledge. A scrap of a larger map fastened to the page with fragrant sap. Someone has written, "Tainted by curse, above the lands to the east, beyond the mountains, on the road to Baldur's Gate." Table fragment. Moral commandments and dogmatic prayers are inscribed upon this stone slab. It appears to be the top of a larger piece. This fragment appears to be part of a larger stone slab. The top edge is cleanly hewn, but the bottom is jagged. So said Shar to me, Catherick Thorm. Quote, "It was Lord Ao who created chaos. It was from chaos that I formed, and it is I who anoint you my paladin. From this day forth, let my laws be known." End quote. The law of secrets. What is a secret but truth cast into darkness? Lurk in the shadows and listen for hushed words. The softer a thought spoken, the more power it contains. The more discord it sows, the more scars it may carve. If a man brags of affairs, carry his words to his wife. If a daughter steals from her father, whisper the truth. The deceived turn to Shar. Cuckolds find solace in shadow. Do this. The inscription ends here. Table fragment. Moral commandments and dogmatic prayers are inscribed upon this stone slab. It appears to be the center of a larger piece. Both the top and bottom of this tablet are uneven, and its writings begin and end mid-sentence. Nts a 10-day, and the Lady of Lost shall know you. The law of nightfall. From the moon falls the foulest of lights. It peeks through cracks and fissures, illuminating the most remote recesses of the Underdark. Light bestows hope, a pernicious notion which must be extinguished. At the darkest hour, pray to your lady, and feast in her honor. The second day after, slay a disciple of Seiloon. If none may be found, a Lathandarin or Mistrin are an acceptable offering. Do this once attende, and the Lady of Loss shall know you. The inscription ends here. Moral commandments and dogmatic prayers are inscribed upon the stone stop. It appears to be the bottom of a large piece. Though the bottom edge is smooth, the jagged edge at the top of the tablet reveals it was broken away from a larger slab. Its inscription begins mid-sentence. Ah of obedience. The word of Ketheric Thorm is the word of Shar. You shall put no god nor mortal before him. You shall question him in neither word nor deed. When the sun has fallen and the moon is new, bow your head in prayer. Proclaim your devotion to Shar and her paladin, Ketheric Thorm. Promise your soul and flesh, and seek no fortune nor favor. When your prayer is finished, speak thus. Mistress Shar, I have glorified your name. Master Thorm, I have cried out your word. I am your servant forevermore. So said Shar to me, Ketheric Thorm, so it is decreed, and so it is done. Wield the power of secret. Where light shines, extinguish it. Heed the word of your mistress and master. Do this, and the Lady of Lost shall know you. Tattered journal, used to read. A journal filled with hastily sketched diagrams of spiders and various spell runes. The captions are largely written in code, save for a few passages near the end that are penned in shaky common. They can sense my devotion. It draws them. I hear them in the shadows. Whispers from the Dark Mother. I awoke to a gift wrapped in spider's silk. A pair of boots, taken from a heretic's corpse. Lolth sends her daughters to reward my faith, to let me know that I am on the right path. Another gift, a corpse, the corpse of a drow, sigils scarred upon his face. An arachnomancer, one with the power to inhabit the spider's form. It is a message, a calling. My blood already dries upon the dagger, her blessed image carved into my skin. Tattered letter, a hastily scrawled note. Dear Joel and Damir, don't get mad, I mean it. I'm only leaving this note so you don't panic and do something stupid. I'm going to the hag. I owe it to Connor to make things right. You know he'd do the same for me. I'll be back soon. Not a word to ma'am, alright? She has enough on her plate. Irina. Tattered notes. This time-worn note is thin and ragged. A harsh touch might cause it to disintegrate. This place is dark, but the lady's light shines yet. Just as the drow had almost broken through, Jarrus rallied the last of the initiates and charged forth. For a moment, the cavern shone with Saloon's own brilliance. But I have gladly gone with them, wound or no. But Jarrus bade me stay and hold the gate until his return. I am to keep the records, too. I'll save space to write of his victory. It has been days, hours, since we collapsed the tunnel. They were supposed to return after the battle. I cannot dig it out on my own. My eyes won't get used to this darkness, but I can hear them stripping the dead. I'm sorry, I haven't learned the death rites yet, but I will hold the gate, promise. This final entry is barely visible, more faint scratches than legible writing. Sorry. The Annals of Baldur's Gate. A history of the city of Baldur's Gate, as told with a bard's flair. Printed for the masses, this is no scholarly record. Preface. Centuries ago, a young man sailed from the village of Grey Harbor. Where he went, what he saw, and the deeds he accomplished are simple legends today, but the wealth he returned with years later is a hard fact. Baldurin made Grey Harbor rich. His gold built docks, funded businesses, and raised strong walls to protect it all. One of the gates into the flourishing city was named in his honor, but so great was the wealth that flowed through it that the name of the gate became more famous than the village that started it all. The name Grey Harbor has been relegated to dusty history books and ancient maps, but Baldur's Gate? That name is on the lips of every traveler in Faerun. The Approachable East, Volume 1. A neatly bound journal recording Rian Forbeck's travels across land. Great dukes and duchesses, lords and ladies, and all who seek knowledge of the world, welcome. I have traveled far, seen much, and recorded all. My odyssey began in a humble tavern, where I met a Rashemi mercenary, an approachable fellow. He offered me a tale in exchange for a drink. I accepted, and it was soon wrapped as one ale became 6. He told me the legends of his people, sharing their stories and culture. He told me of the lands he had visited, from the Silver Marches to Kalimshan, from the moon-shy isles to the plains of purple dust. The more he spoke, the more I realized I've never traveled farther than Baragast. I felt like a fly, spending my short life buzzing about a latrine, ignorant of everything I was missing. Well, no more. The next day, I packed a bag and set out, following the Kayonthar east. I would travel to Rashamen, see this magnificent world, and document it all. The Curse of the Vampire. An ancient text written on dry, cracking paper. The cover is inscribed with every holy symbol you've ever seen, and some you haven't. Hearken close and beware the vampire. Beware its cold beauty, beware its charm, beware its curse. Above all, beware the pale noble, for the vampire cannot bear to be that of the common folk. How doth one protect from the beast? Walk not in blackest night, for the vampire loves these nights more than any other. If you must walk, do so by the light of our moon, and take care. Carry the blessings and marks of your God at all times. But remember, your home is a fortress, if protected well. If you hear a knock at night, be wary. Let no stranger in your home. If it be a friend, look upon them. Do you find them pallid and wan? See you any mark upon their neck? See you any dirt upon their clothes? Unless their need is great, turn away all but the most trusted. And if the beast finds a way into your home, flee. Leave love and family behind. You will not save them if you fight. You will not see them again. But they will see you, pale and smiling, calling them into the night. The Evil Eye. If one looks at the eyes etched into this cover long enough, they appear to blink. While the number of trinkets and bargains a hag personally acquires means that her powers will be unique compared to that of her sisters, hags as a whole can be divided into 3 subcategories. Night hags, named as such for their ability to haunt a mortal's dreams, slowly devouring vital essence until the victim's soul can be trapped into the hag's soul bag. They are known for being petty, selfish braggarts. Sea hags, known for devouring their victim's whole. Sea hags can terrorize and kill with a single look. They reek of fish and are capable of making a proper cup of tea. Green hags, they are beautiful. They are powerful. Speak not a word against them. The Folly and Fall. A faded handbill advertising the works of the sharp-tongued traveling trope, or trope. Though clearly old, this handbill has managed to maintain its bold print over time. For one season only, see the play that sent Etrell's Everlight Theater into chaos. The sharp-tongued traveling trope presents The Folly and the Fall, a tragedy in 4 parts. Part 1 of the Lost Netheril, that great wizarding empire in humanity's age of wonder. Part 2 of the great mage Karsus, his brief and terrible godhood, and the ruin he wrought. Part 3 of Netheril's fall, 1,000 years of shade, and Shar's subversion. Part 4 of Netheril's return, and its shadow falling upon the land. Penned by the great bard Bragan Feg, The Folly and the Fall tells the true story of the flying Netherese city Thultanthar and its dramatic return after 1,000 years in exile on Char's Plane of Shadow. See the climatic battle above Myth Dranor, rendered in stunning detail thanks to the finest thaumaturges on the coast. Direct on your village green as the sharp-tongued traveling trope makes its transit to Baldur's Gate. See it now or face 1,000 years of sorrow. The Genesis of Saloon and Shar. A book of religious lore. An ancient tome detailing how Saloon came into being along with her sister Shar. The silver radiant Saloon and the dark alluring Shar complemented each other and brought an orderly distinction between light and dark in the universe. The Great Furnace of Grimforge. Information on the use of an adamantine forge is transcribed on this book's pages. The pages, apparently copied from a master tome, describe the construction and use of a grand forge in the Underdark. Among the Sharans dwelled a gnome, Silov Yali, whose talents for wizardry were known from Candlekeep to sorcery. Under his tutelage, the Sharans built the Great Forge, which could heat mithril with such vigor as to turn it into adamantine. With this astonishing metal, they could mold the finest blades and armor. Yet the jewel of Yali's eye was not the forge itself, but the protector he conjured from the magma to guard it, a construct said to be so mighty that no blade could fell it, and no spell could pierce it. Instructions for operating the Great Forge are listed underneath. Ingredients: raw mithril ore and a proper mold. Place the ore and mold into their respective chambers. Pull the lever to lower the hammer and prepare the ore for smelting. Open the valve to allow lava into the crucible and drop the hammer again to forge the product. The Lords of Madness, Volume 4. Yinogu. This book of fine red leather seems ageless, but the smell of rotting flesh emanates from its pages. Of all the demon lords, few have made their mark on the world as firmly as Yinogu. Though his ravenous hunger is claimed to be a mindless compulsion, there is nothing mindless about the thorough insinuation of his presence in the world via his chosen, gnolls. But how are gnolls created? First, a chosen of Yinogu must do as their master wills, kill. A hyena that then feasts on the corpse of the chosen's victim, and a gnoll is born of the glutted belly of the hyena. Gnolls thus born are hunger manifest. They ravage any living being, tearing body and bone asunder, leaving behind only bones. They care not for wealth or material gain, only to satiate their hunger. That satiation itself is an offering to Yinogu, funneled directly to him. Some might envy the gnolls for such a tangible connection to their creator god, but that envy will melt to utter terror as soon as the beast's rotting breath and wicked cackles make their way through the dark of night. If you should find yourself the object of gnollish pursuit, burn your corpses, cover your scent, and pray to whoever might aid you, for there is no bribing, begging, or reasoning with hunger incarnate. The Mortal View, eyewitness accounts of the Ballspawn crisis. This mass-produced book has a cheap imitation of Ball's symbol stamped onto the cover. The guild seal on the inside of the cover belongs to a printmaking collective in Baldur's Gate. Of course I remember. Knew the second that girl was walking that she'd be trouble. Little thief. Always in everyone's business. And that ward of Gorion went right along with her. No surprise a wicked god's blood was running in their veins. Anonymous, Candlekeep. Saravok and his lot are always the first ones that come to mind. You know, this all started with a bit of iron in Nashkel. Everyone thought Everyone thought their weapons would rot out of their hands. Back then, I thought the problem was bad trade. Never took the man for a son of Baal. Amnian mercenary, interviewed on his deathbed. You dare speak that name to me? My mistress was turned to ash fighting those forsaken wretches. I curse you, Baal. I curse Irenicus. I curse you. Hostile vampire. Athkalta slums. The five tore Tethir to pieces. I don't think anyone expected more ball spawn showing up would fix the war that a pack of them started. Then again, all were inclined to killing each other, eh? Good riddance. Here's hoping every last one of them has been wiped off the face of Faerun. Saradush Merchant, retired. I am not authorized to be talking about any murder with someone like you. Take it up at the sea tower if you want to argue. But honestly, who cares if a ball spawn got it stuck to them? Their father's the killing type after all. Flaming Fist Gauntlet, Baldur's Gate. Several hundred more interviews follow, most of them terse. The Roads to Darkness. This play tells the epic tragedy of three friends who kill each other in their quest for power. The Roads to Darkness. An epic tragedy about power, corruption, and loneliness. Prologue. A lonely road. Thunder and lightning. Enter Soreth. Soreth. New sounds. Through damp and dark oppression break. Is it the foe that foul contemptuous heel? Or art thou a friend, a rescue from my lonely wake? Come out of love for me, not love for blood and steel. Enter Risia. Risia. How would I know? How would I know, Soreth? It's been so long. What do I know of you and you of me? Soreth. Wait. Do you hear that sound? Enter Amphius. Amphius. What's this? Those figures so familiar, both, but still you seem so strange. Soreth. It's Amphius. Risia, dear Amphius, what happened to your face? It's pale as death. Soreth, your eyes are black as char. Amphius, and you? I saw your teeth. They're sharp as blades. And what is with this road, so slick with blood? What happened here? What happened to us all? Exeunt. End. Prologue. Act 1. 10 years prior. The rest of the play tells the tale of three elven friends, their paths to power, and how corrupted, mad, and lonely they killed each other. The True Impossible Adventures of Tenebrux Morrow, Volume 4, a brightly illustrated volume kept in immaculate condition. An excerpt from The True and Impossible Adventures of Tenebrux Morrow, a pulp serial following the real-life exploits of an interplanar ship's captain. The real Captain Morrow is known never to have left her native Waterdeep, and emerges from her rooms at the yawning portal only to exchange scrawled manuscripts for fresh meals and ink. It is quite a feeling to fall forever. Of course, fall does not exactly describe it, nor does fly. Each patch of air in the elemental plane of air is bound by no laws but its own, rendering petty attempts at direction or definition meaningless. It is exactly this ferocious freedom that makes a plunge through the eternal blue the only way I've learned to truly relax. You seem distracted, observes Irulaz, shouting to be heard over the howling wind. That the goblin could so easily pierce my inscrutable facade was no surprise to me, for she is a sage of considerable wisdom, and a lifelong friend to boot. I am, I acknowledged, expertly adjusting my posture to avoid a drifting Arachocra nest. Lord Primus was forewarned of my contract to infiltrate his mind palace. I had to leave my entire crew on Mechanus just to escape alive. I could sense her frown beneath the bleached bone skull that internally obscured her face. It was an affectation of her monastic order, and just one of many things I had never truly understood about her. All perished? Surely the traitor was among them. Perished? Oh no, I traded them. Lord Primus wished to study mortal mannerisms, and he was most forthcoming with the identity of my betrayer in return. I reached out across the divide and slipped from her finger the ring of command. With the loss of the magical item, she instantly ceased to fly, and began to fall in earnest. A subtle distinction, but an important one. Her screams were already lost to the whipping wind by the time new bride loomed into view. I climbed aboard, weighing the ring in my palm. Its exact twin was nestled upon my own finger, forged by Erules many moons ago as a symbol of our undying friendship. Worry not, dear reader, she is my friend still, and it is my full intention to return and catch her someday. The Unclaimed. The sturdily bound story of a cleric of Shar whose soul was never claimed from the City of Judgment. In life, her service has been impeccable. Daily did she devote herself to the Lady of Loss. Daily did she free herself from the tyranny of memory. All in time was lost to her, her relations, her preferences, even her own name. Upon the altar of her devotion, she placed the ultimate offering, her emptied mind. And when she died, when she awoke in death and found herself standing in the pale and faded City of Judgment, she waited for the Lady of Loss to retrieve her. A million souls and more passed her in colorless gusts, but no hand materialized in her hand. No voice whispered instruction in her ear. No guidance proffered itself from the bleached and barren sky. Time, immaterial time, passed round her like air, coming and going. And still, the goddess did not come for her devotee. Kalemvor pitied her, as much as the Lord of the Dead is able, but could not intervene. This cleric of the Lady of Loss, unclaimed despite her unworthiness, might yet have one more lesson to learn. That, not of forgetting, but of being forgotten. The War Between Saloon and Shar, a book of religious lore. A dusty volume that speaks of the conflict between the sibling goddesses Saloon and Shar, after Saloon ignited the sun and brought life-sustaining light and warmth to the universe. The Wonders of Fandolin. Aged, dry pages crack at your touch, but this book is otherwise well preserved. In this year, 950 DR, there can hardly be a more prosperous and fortunate town than Fandolin. Fandelver's Pact has brought prosperity to this land, splitting the wonders of the Wave Echo Cave between gnomes and dwarves. The town now boasts thriving communities of both peoples, living and working together in harmony. We have also tempted human spellweavers from across the north to our town, who are happy to work side by side with the allies of Fandelver's Pact. Mayor Alderleaf invites you to come and witness this miracle yourself. See the powers being uncovered in the Forge of Spells, and the prosperity this power brings. I dare say Neverwinter will soon have a new rival for the title of Jewel of the North. Threadbare Book. Stained and torn, most of this book has been lost to time. This threadbare book looks like it once contained a play, but most of it has been lost to time, vermin, and an unfortunate ink spill. Only two full sentences are distinguishable. How can I trust? How will I ever know? How can I show myself my darkest me? Torn out paper. A torn strip of paper with 2 lines of barely legible script. The writing on this torn out strip of paper is shaky and blotted with tears, making it barely legible. The silence stretches on. I'm all alone. Please, can I hold your hands for just a while? Traveler's Guide to the Sword Coast, Volume 4, The Risen Road. An old, cheaply bound book that's starting to fall to pieces. The stained, well-thumbed pages filled with traveling advice that seemed to be decades out of date. Those who seek to journey to the coast from the interior regions lying to the east will typically seek out the Risen Road. Running parallel to the river Kionthar, the Risen Road provides an overland route all the way from Elturel to Baldur's Gate, and has proven tempting to travelers seeking an alternate to the river barges that sail the Kionthar. A portion of the road approximately halfway between Elturel and Baldur's Gate has, in recent years, developed into an enclave for saloon worship, with a temple of not insignificant splendor lying near the road. Indeed, an entire village, Moonhaven, has developed alongside the temple, and can provide food and shelter to weary travelers. Farther east lies the citadel of Moonrise Towers, where a toll is required for onward passage of goods and folk alike. Some are tempted to go off-road in order to avoid the toll. However, bandits and other dangers may cause them to pay a much steeper price. So if that's to be believed, the Blighted Village was once known as Moonhaven, which I believe is here. Yeah, a map of Moonhaven. Yeah, seems like Moonhaven was attacked. Treatise on the anti-magic properties of Susser tree flowers. A research paper on Susser tree flowers. Only the first paragraph is finished. The Anti-Magic Properties of Scissor Tree Flowers by L. D. Hurst. For those knowing about scissor trees, their magical properties have always been a topic of debate. Not only their ability to create an anti-magic aura, which is complete enough that even those unattuned to the weave can feel its effect, but also, and most interestingly, to those living in the world above, the way its roots, bark, and flowers can be harnessed to make magic items. Rumors of such items are rare, but spread in settlements bordering the Underdark. Their existence, however, has never been confirmed by any of our clerics, nor by any other reputable scholars. I hypothesized that these items are no mere legends, and indeed, in this treatise, I will endeavor to explain how I myself created items that have anti-magic properties, and that the use of the magical absorption of Susser tree flowers as a power source. Lines have been drawn on the following pages as if the author intended to fill them with writing, but the remainder of the thin book is blank. Undelivered letter. A missive stained with dirt and boot prints. Master Ketherick, my whip has finally coaxed some particulars from the captive Harper. To wit, she revealed the location of her stockpile, on a rocky overlook. I investigated, but found the chest in question is trapped. Any attempt to open it might break the contents completely. The spy refused to reveal how to open the chest, even under threat of death, only crying, "Lux Splenda," with every lash. Some type of watchword, no doubt. The interrogation continues, and again, please accept my most humble apologies for my earlier oversights. Rest assured, I will not misidentify any more of my fellow Sharans as spies. May they walk forever in the shadow. Justice here, Sybil. Unfinished sending. A hastily scrawled note intended as a magical sending. It remains unfinished. A component of a magical sending, hastily scrawled and incomplete. Seal the lower temple. Grimforge taken by unknown force. Many soldiers, one face inferno. Their leader? The note cuts off abruptly, ink slashed through with blood. Wollo's Guide to Baldur's Gate. This very accurate book is packed full of tales of the grimy streets, rockhouse taverns, and outlandish characters of Baldur's Gate. A poorly drawn map of a city is captioned in flamboyant script. What follows is the most thorough and accurate account of the city and people of Baldur's Gate, the sword gem of the Sword Coast. An editor's note in crimson ink follows. V. This volume is startling accurate, save for the nonsense about the Black Dragon Gate. It is not alive, no matter how many vagrant hags claim otherwise. Commission someone else to draw the map. E. Web-covered journal. The pages of this tome are marred with stains, some blood, or unknown ichor. This book leaves are stuck together with thick webbing that leaches ink when pulled from the page. Only the final entry remains remotely legible. It is time. I will forever transcend this blasphemous flesh and refashion myself in the Queen's image. No longer will I be bound to this lowly form, this base shape of organ and bone. Even the arachnomancers of Menzoberranzan shall weep at my feet, their little spells so feeble and fleeting. Today I found the house of Lolth, and I shall be its matriarch. Child's drawing. A child's depiction of a happy sunlit scene. An elf, a dwarf, and that. Or, I'm guessing. Faded blueprints. This page contains 4 meticulous drawings of different weapons, but weather and age has blotted the ink and made the writing illegible. A sickle, axe, dagger, and hatchet. Faded instructions. Though it looks like it once detailed important instructions, this page has turned brittle, and most of the writing has long faded. Okay. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all the books I have. So that is the lore and the end of the epilogue. I'm just gonna go straight to bed. I have so much food, I could just sell them all. Alright, and that's the end. We'll wake up, go to the next page. Nice scratch.
Scratch's tail wags enthusiastically. Scratch's tongue lolls out happily, his tail wagging even faster.
Nice. Yeah. All right, let us go forth then. Oh, nope. All right, I'm gonna save one last time here, and then we'll proceed to the mountain pass, and then we'll save there.
Here we go.
And that'll be the end for this epilogue. Crush. Nugget Yankee Crush. we can save here. The second two. Perfect. Alright, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Again, this is more of an epilogue, but it, for my calculations, looks more like a episode. So this is the end. I'll call it episode 10, epilogue, or act 1. So thank you so much for watching. As always, viva Cristo Rey, arriba España, adelante España. Adiós, soldados. Chao.